Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman are all going to die in this comic, and it's amazing. So this opens up with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all in Metropolis facing off against an invasion by parademons. Now this is happening because, as most of you guys know, parademons are basically the henchmen of Darkseid. Now normally parademons are sport when it comes to the superheroes of Earth. Sure, they have to try to defeat them, but like they can usually do it. The reason why these guys are all gonna die here is because this invasion is colossal. Metropolis has been completely and totally eradicated. Anybody who survived was captured and converted into a parademon. Lois Lane is dead, and this is happening all over the world. That's what Steppenwolf did, Darkseid's general. He basically established these towers that allowed all these different parademons to invade Earth on a massive level, like millions of these things showing up all at once. So even Superman doing the best he can, there's only so much he can do because it's fighting a battle of attrition, right? Basically an endless army. For every one parademon that is killed, 2 or 3 reappear because they can convert humans to parademons in real time. Now, a lot of this all comes down to the plan of Batman. It's really the only way that they can conceive of potentially winning here. In fact, what Batman ends up doing is scaling one of these towers with the intention of bringing it down. Now, along the way, he's talked to by Helena Wayne, who's actually Huntress from this universe. For those of you guys who are curious about how the character of Huntress reappeared or made her appearance in the New 52 Justice League line of comics and the other stories in New 52, it was because of this. And in fact, you'll see it towards the end. But the idea comes down to a plan that was established by these guys, right? What Batman says is that each of these towers is a beacon that Apocalypse forces have erected and supply both energy and instructions to the parademons. And that's when Wonder Woman realizes, which we've already tried destroying on multiple occasions, the transmission simply rolls over to whatever towers we have not destroyed. And the towers are constantly being rebuilt. One tower gets destroyed, another tower pops up and takes its place. It's a way to just kind of continue the onslaught against the superheroes of Earth. Superman then chimes in and says they use their energy tubes to pepper the world with more towers before we can stop them, right? Effectively using boom tubes is what he's talking about, the method of transportation used by Darkseid and his various forces. Now that's when Batman asks, what if we use their defenses against them, right? This chip represents a virus program that I've developed. It will bring down one tower, then the transmission will roll over and will send the virus onto the next tower and the next. It's a domino effect, right? In effect, it'll just shut down all the towers. And with the parademons more or less just kind of being programmed, mindless beings, they'll be getting direction from nothing, and they'll ultimately just shut down as well. And so what we realize here is that Superman and Wonder Woman are basically just buying time for Batman to execute his plan. Now, to give you guys perspective on how dire things are, in this universe, Mercury, the god of speed, essentially, ends up visiting Wonder Woman. And because he's a messenger, he tells her the various gods that you worship, they are all fighting alongside you in this cause, and they are all dying. They're all being killed off by these forces of Darkseid, so on and so forth, parademons, that kind of thing. And so that's when Wonder Woman realizes this fight is potentially one that we are not going to win. Like, there's no conceivable way we can win this if even the gods are being killed by these guys. And so ultimately Mercury tells her, we'll continue the fight. Just understand, we probably don't have a lot of living left in us at this point in time. And so he takes off. Now he'll reappear once you get to the end of the story here, but Wonder Woman just keeps fighting the fight. Now that's when Superman is almost the first one to fall, because what happens here is that while he's distracted with Wonder Woman, the parademon sees control of him and he tells her, look out behind you, Steppenwolf is coming. This guy pops up, immediately impales Wonder Woman, kills her on the spot. She's donezo. At that point, Superman is taken by the parademons, but before he can be converted, he ultimately just kind of ends up exploding with a blast of solar energy that seemingly kills him, right? Now, here's the thing to understand. If Superman were actually converted to a parademon, which kind of happened later on in the Earth 2 line of comics, which is a very divisive moment, if we're being honest with ourselves. But if it was a true Superman as a parademon operating as an agent of Darkseid, yeah, man, this guy would be enough to kill most anybody. But then Steppenwolf kind of makes this offhanded remark like, no, you will not. So within the span of moments, 2 down, one to go. And that's when you pick up with Kara, Supergirl. Now, Supergirl isn't really actually fighting with anybody here. Instead, what she's doing is she's patrolling all these other areas that are out there to see if any other parademon forces are making their moves in any other territories. The reality here is that they're not, but it also makes perfect sense because all the superheroes are consolidated in one location, or at least those that pose the most credible threat: Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. And so by sending the full force of the parademons to Metropolis, that's why things are overwhelmed so quickly. But with Superman and Wonder Woman essentially now taken out of the fight, all you have left is Batman, and try as much as he can with all his prep time, it's not going to do him any good. And so even these soldiers that are just kind of traveling through these different locations and basically patrolling for any sign of these parademons, Kara basically bails. She takes off and immediately heads over to where Superman was, or at least where things last seemed to indicate that he was at. Following that, these parademons, which simply weren't aware of at that point in time, come flooding in on these soldiers. These poor saps never had a chance. These guys are either going to be killed or they're going to be whisked away and converted into parademons, right? Just have their entire flesh just reconstructed, and it's gonna be pretty brutal. But that's when you pick up with Batman, who's here at the tower. And what happens is Helena gets a hold of him. Huntress starts talking to him, and that's when he makes this big reveal to her that he didn't actually divulge the second part of the plan. That all he told everybody was, I'm gonna put this virus in there and that's gonna be it. But what Batman realized is that these towers have a self-destruct. So as soon as Batman activates this virus, it's donezo, right? Game over. And that's exactly what happens. You do get this really, really touching moment, which even though it's not necessarily the main DC Universe Batman, it at the very least shows that this one is a lot more tender than the one that we're traditionally used to, where he just like tells her, like, be brave, my beautiful, wonderful soldier, live for me. I love you, Helena. He activates the device and then it immediately blows up, right? But it does transmit the virus to all the other towers. Supergirl shows up there, and then she sees this massive portal opening that's there. Her and Huntress fly through. And then this led DC basically launch their own comic, which is World's Finest. It was okay, but Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman die immediately, right? Like, they're gone. They are officially out of the picture. And so what this does is it picks up with the official start of the Earth 2 line of comics, where you basically have Mercury, who reappears and arrives to this kid, Jay Garrick, this reality's version of Jay, the original Flash in DC Comics, and tells him, like, all the superheroes have fallen. We need new heroes. Can you be that guy? And so what it does is it goes forward with kind of bringing in this new quote unquote Justice League, with Jay Garrick becoming the newest Flash. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna bring this to an end. Let me know if you want me to cover the rest of this, or if you want me to go back and remaster the Justice League, because that comic was phenomenal. But I will catch you all later. Peace.